Welcome to another episode of the Anime and Spirituality podcast on Substack and YouTube. On this episode, we are talking about the connections between psychoanalysis and spirituality, our implicit, unseen reality. So stick around. I'm the Cozy Sensei. This episode is coming out on my birthday, so happy birthday to me. And I'm looking forward to this new year. I really am. I get so excited about my birthday as like, this is my birthday. But as I age and after everything I've been through with friendships and birthdays, I'm enjoying being able to just be like, okay, the day is here. Yay. And whether or not certain people reach out, it doesn't even matter. What matters is I was born today. And I've been experiencing miracles my entire life, but I wanted to share my most recent miraculous encounter because it kind of felt serendipitous, which miracles should feel like or tend to feel like. So it's been a drought for the past 2 months in my area, and I also just have been traveling and my grass hasn't been growing, so I didn't actually need to mow my lawn. On the flip side of things, like completely unrelated, I write a lot of online fan fiction, and I just, for one story, it just feels like the fandom, while they're reading and they're subscribing, they just aren't engaging with comments. And it's like, why are you not? I know y'all are enjoying this because I'm seeing my subscription numbers slowly tick up. And so I come into some money. I'm like, all right, it's just been like a lot of hurricane rain. My grass has grown to the height of my pup. So I need to get this thing mowed. I hit up my lawnmower and he's like, all right, cool. I can come on Tuesday, no sweat. So he comes, he cuts the grass. He always does a really great job. And y'all, my lawnmower is so attractive. And the problem is he also resembles an ex. So it's like, none of that. But, you know, you can still marvel at the beauty of another human being. But anyway, he's fine and he does a fine job cutting my grass. I just realized that's like a double entendre. That's like an innuendo, a sexual innuendo. Okay. But back to the miraculous. So once he leaves, all of a sudden, my phone, as I'm in meetings throughout the afternoon, is buzzing like every hour for 3 hours straight. Every hour, I'm getting a new comment for that story. And I was like, oh my goodness, what are the odds that the same day that I post a new chapter of the story, and mind you, I posted a chapter the day before, woke up and saw that I lost a subscriber, and I was like, you know what? Because I woke up thinking that when I wake up, I am like so incessant about checking my stats, and I know I shouldn't be. I don't for this podcast, but for my writing, I do. And I was like, let me check to see if I got something new. And I log on and it's like, yeah, you got something new. You expecting an increase, you got a decrease. So I had to spend the rest of the morning kindly and gently coaching myself through and out of my rejection sensitivity. And, you know, just accept that you don't know why somebody would unsubscribe to your work, to your writing. It's not really a true definitive reflection of you, your art, your craft. So just move on with your day. Then here we go. About 4 hours later, lawn is mowed. Boom, bada bing, bada boom. I'm getting comments for the same story that somebody unsubscribed the day before. And these comments are amazing. These comments are well worth the drought that I was having, both in the comment section, and then I looked over at my grass and I was like, oh shoot, we just came from a drought, just had heavy downfall of rain, And here I am getting my grass cut, and you see how the connection I'm making? Like, yeah, you do have to deep it. And to somebody listening to this, they may be like, you're looking too deep into it. But that's the point of a miracle, that it makes you recontextualize and reconsider, how did this happen? And what are the odds of these two disparate things paralleling and intersecting in a way that it just feels like, damn, I should have got my grass cut a long time ago. Maybe if I had it done, a month earlier, who's to say? But also, I do recognize that I posted a chapter, and this has never happened. It's never happened to where the same day I post a chapter, I'm getting comments. Like, that's the dream, that's the hope, that's the desire, but it hadn't happened until I cut my grass. And that type of synchronicity, at least I'm going to call it that, but that type of serendipitous experience feels miraculous because it brought really what I considered to be not even impossible. I just didn't fathom it. And I've had other miracles since releasing this podcast happen in the smallest ways, in some really big and cool ways as well. But I bring this up to remind people that a miracle can come anyway, anyhow. And I am just gobsmacked by the feedback I received for not just that new chapter that I dropped, but for the entire story that I'm telling, which encourages me to continue doing what I'm doing artistically, creatively, spiritually, but also to remember that going outside of the normal course of things brings something really miraculous into the daily. And why do I say that? Because I'm not typically the type of person to post a new chapter in the middle of the work week. I definitely don't post chapters a day apart, but what's really wild? The chapter that I posted on Monday was so short that I feel like it kind of annoyed the subscriber that I lost. So while I'm coaching myself through my RSD, I realized, okay, you know what? The only way that you can move past this is to move forward and drop this chapter that you were just sitting on, which is the next chapter. It's fine. Just maybe get something new, get some new energy out into the world. And I do that, and look what happens. And here's even the better kicker. I wake up the next day on Wednesday, and while I lost one person on Tuesday, I gained 3 more people by Thursday. A miracle. So spiritual gifts, superpowers, quirks, superhuman beings, all of the above, the things that we love the most about anime is the fact that people are not just regular, ordinary people. They have powers and they have gifts and abilities that allow them to do really uncanny things. And a lot of times those uncanny things go sight unseen. But we, as the audience, in the dramatic irony of storytelling, we know what's going on. We can see the colors. We can see the elements. We can see what makes our favorite anime characters special, unique, different, and even in the worlds where they can see their quirks. We're still going to talk about why spirituality and the unseen go hand in hand. We're also going to talk about Demon Slayer this episode. So if I have any Tanjiro and Nezuko fans, what's up? Any Hashira fans, how you doing? And we're of course going to talk about Luffy, and we're going to get into the power of the devil fruit and haki, and just what does it mean to be somebody with a power that can do the unthinkable, the unimaginable, and yet it's possible, at least in anime, at least in animation, and not just possible, it's the everydayness of life and things, of being. Psychoanalytic theory rests on an unseen, elusive foundation. which is the unconscious, supporting Freud's contention that unconscious mental processes dominate our behavior, motivation, and experience far more than conscious processes. Recent research in cognitive science indicates that the role of the unconscious in guiding our behavior is even greater than previously understood. On the level of visual perception alone, scientists estimate that our eyes receive and process 10 million bits of information per second, of which only 16 can be engaged with consciously. This points to a truly unseen reality that is constantly affecting us, yet far surpasses that which can be detected and processed by conscious awareness. The difference in proportion, 10 million to 16, conveys some idea of the supremacy of unconscious mental activity over conscious, and that represents only one of our perceptual systems. The existence of an unseen reality that permeates and enriches our normal course of activities and strivings is also the cornerstone of spirituality. In fact, spirituality involves a search for a deeper meaning or truth beyond what is evident on the surface of life. So we are moving past our normal daily routine. We're moving past the things that allow us or maintain the status quo. We're moving beyond our comfort zone. Spirituality is so boundless, so infinite, that when you consider how much more there is to life when you explore it, you can't even begin to quantify it. That's how extensive it is. And that's why when we're talking about the invisible, we have to understand that it's only invisible to our perception. There are sounds, sights, and colors, and so many things that other sentient beings like animals and plants are perceptive to that the human brain and sensibilities cannot pick up on. And why is that? Does that mean that they don't exist just because we are not finely attuned to perceiving them? No. What it means is that there is more to life than this. There is more to spirituality. There is more to the spirit than what the body can actually perceive and the brain can conceive. Sometimes it takes a miracle. Sometimes it takes that shock to what you thought was possible and real to wake you up to the fact that you don't even know how much you don't know. And that is why there's so much more to discover in life. So if you are wondering, do I have to be religious in order to explore and understand spirituality and therein my spirituality? The long answer is no. So here are examples of how the self's participation beyond its infinite seen space is experienced. How the self shows up and participates in prayer and meditation. The self in creative reverie. The self experiencing telepathy and other psi phenomena sensibilities. The self in mystical union with nature or with another self in passionate lovemaking. That ecstasy of an orgasm. The self experiencing a hallucinogenic high, the self engaged with the other in the unique intimacy of the psychoanalytic relationship, aka therapy. So what we have are multiple ways in which the self experiences manifesting your reality and experiences supernatural abilities, spiritual gifts, and superpowers.